two of our guys that we talked about on the previous show, which was Friday night, went off on the combine. We kind of predicted this. Mike Washington in particular, that guy's rising like a round or 2 rounds. And then Taylon Green, who is a freak of freaks. Very freaky.
Yeah, I think you have to take Taylon Green's overall performance as a mixed bag, right? Because of the actual on-field testing was less than desirable relative to the athletic testing. So he is a freak of, outperforming Anthony Richardson is a feat in and of itself. But, we'll get into it a little bit about winners and losers. I have concern. I think a lot of teams are going to get enamored with the athleticism, but I think some teams are going to be concerned with the overall lack of total college production and definitely some of the accuracy issues that they saw at the combine.
His production is actually better than Anthony Richardson, though. So as a prospect, he's actually ahead of where Anthony Richardson was experience-wise, stats, athleticism. So if anything, Taylon Green needs to sue Anthony Richardson, because if it wasn't for Anthony Richardson, I think Taylon Green would have been a first-round pick. Well, now it's just never going to happen.
And that was the NFL's fault. I mean, Anthony Richardson had one mediocre season. I shouldn't say mediocre. He had a very good statistical productive season. But they were barely above 500 and they were under 500 in the SEC East or whatever that division that they're in. Like, come on. I mean, I don't understand how the NFL got so enamored with Anthony Richardson just based on 1 year. It's just absolutely bananas.
It was the combine. He was the ultimate combine hero. And this year it's Taylon Green. There's obviously Jeremiah Love, but he didn't even need to do anything. He did help himself a little bit. But real quick, I want to ask you, did you see Aaron Glenn falling asleep? Did you see this?
I did not. No, he was falling asleep, huh?
Dude, so I was watching live. I watched most of the combine live, and it was during the first day. Defensive linemen were running the 40, and they just show, they're like, and Aaron Glenn's watching on. They had the camera on him for at least like 8 seconds. Kind of like the Seinfeld scene when George is eating the ice cream. It's all over his face. And I'm like, I couldn't really tell. It looked like his eyes were closed, and like they had it on him, and then they opened. I was like, oh, he must have been looking down. And then fucking shout out Downtown Sports and Mouth text me, and he's like, yeah, Aaron Glenn was falling asleep. So I have the footage right here. You have to see this. This is amazing.
Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 prospects as Aaron Glenn looks on for the Jets. Fernando Mendoza 1. Jeremiah Love, who we'll also see on Saturday here on NFL Network, the running back from Notre Dame 2.
He popped awake there. Like, when you get shaken awake.
Yeah. He's just, 100%.
He's such a clown. Like, he is such a clown. I got to get glass cleaner. Keep talking. I'll be right back. I just got to clean.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And it does remind me of the Seinfeld scene, not even the one I mentioned, but this one.
George, have you seen that American League directory? It's a big green book.
Right here.
So we got Aaron Glenn falling asleep. He's a defensive coach. This was during defensive drills, defensive line drills, where they need a lot of help. So it was a bad hiring from the start, but like, dude, it was the first day. It was pretty early in the process. It was, probably 2:00 in the afternoon, bro. Like, that is just disgraceful. And like, I brings me back to my dad, who would always fall asleep, like when we were watching movies and I get pissed at him, and he'd be like, I wasn't sleeping.
Jeremiah's top 50 prospects as Aaron Glenn looks on for the Jets. Fernando Mendoza 1. Jeremiah Love, who we'll also see on Saturday here on NFL Network, the running back from Notre Dame 2.
Yeah, it was such a bad hire. That's just icing on the cake for that guy right there. Unbelievable.
And he's a defensive coach. That was defensive lineman. Like, if it was like offensive lineman or something, maybe I'd give him a pass. But like, that's his expertise. Like, dude, come on, Aaron Glenn. Like, what a bad. Has there been a worse like first year? Just because remember the play where they returned the touchdown and he was like running up and down the sideline cheering, and they ended up losing the game.
Oh my God. Act like
the fact that he was praising his defense when they were like bottom 3 in the NFL, like all the things, all the stuff. He's awful, and it just kind of comes back to the fact that Dan Campbell's better than we thought, and Ben Johnson's clearly better than we thought. That's all they had there, because he's a clown, bad coordinator, even worse head coach. Do you think he makes it through the season? Story?
No. I was floored that he didn't get fired. After the end of the year, I would have had good money on him being one of the first coaches fired right after the end of the season. But I think we're looking at probably 8 games next year, 8-9 games, something like that.
They need a scapegoat for next year, because they're probably going to start off 1-7, and it just makes a lot of sense. Let's get to our
top 50 prospects is Aaron.
I'm falling asleep at the controls, just like Aaron Glenn. TB says, what a clown. He really is a clown. And I liked him as a player, though. I'll say that. I want to get to the combine here, and I want to get to our two big things, takeaways from the combine. Got to play that in a while. What was your biggest thing, Story, from the combine? Biggest winner, biggest loser?
This is the big thing for me. Ty Simpson was probably the best quarterback out there this week. I was very shocked that Ty Simpson, who came in with some mechanics questions, who came in with some decision-making questions, that he had performed very, very well at the combine. I mean, by a mile. He was near perfect in the on-field drills, right? He was the mechanic questions that we were worried about. They did not manifest. Great ball placement, great accuracy, all three levels of the field. Everything was really in line. I think he did himself a great – I give him like an A-, maybe an A, but I definitely think he improved his draft stock. And it's hard for quarterbacks to improve their draft stock. A lot of it is already determined coming in. I think he probably cemented himself as the number 2 quarterback in this year's draft and probably bolstered his draft stock into somewhere in the top 20, I would guess.
Oh, I mean, I figured he was already the number 2 guy before, just by default, because he does have, he's got that upside that people say. I don't see it, man. I don't see much. I see Zach Wilson is what I see. And you mentioned that he did a lot of good stuff on the on-field drills. Zach Wilson did too, right? And like, I don't care about that. Like what I saw on the field with a stacked Alabama team was just not enough. He's too inexperienced. He's small. Like, He's going to be injury prone. Like I feel like I see Zach Wilson. I see JJ McCarthy. That's what I see when I see him. I mean, think about it. JJ McCarthy was drafted in the top 10, Story. So This guy's going to go after that in a bad class.
I'm not saying that I think that he'll be a success or a fantasy success. He'll have some fantasy success, I think. I'm not saying that he'll be a stud or even all pro. I'm just saying that when it came to the on-field performance this week, it comes down to Nussmeier, Drew Aller, and Ty Simpson, not in that order, who really performed and increased their draft stock. And like I said, it's hard to do. But other winners for me, again, Nussmeier did well. Drew Aller did particularly well. I was very surprised on that. I didn't think that he, come out of Penn State, I wasn't sure that he was going to shine or show out as much as he did. Yeah. So
the foot injury, man, the fact that he played and he even showed up with that foot injury shows a lot for me about the kid. Like he's honestly a monster too. I didn't realize he was that big. Like, dude, he's like 6'4.5", 240, 235. He's huge. Big arm. Like,
I mean, his raw tools are just incredible. So I could see a team seeing him as a bit of a project, have him sit underneath the Rams might take a shot at him, have him sit under a veteran for a little while and then develop into, because if you can mold him into the kind of player, a pocket passer, you got a great downfield kind of guy.
Jonathan has a good point, how the on-field drills are interesting because there's zero pressure and there's zero pads and there's pressure in terms of like, on you to perform, but there's no pressure in your face in terms of defensive players.
Okay. I
get what Carson Beck kind of.
I get what Jonathan's saying.
Carson Beck impressed me.
Okay, yeah, he did too. I mean, Carson Beck was much more impressive. I mean, he got booed. I don't know if you saw that during his.
Oh yeah. That was an away game, dude.
All right, take it easy, Indiana fans. You won the national. It's not like he beat you in the national.
What the fuck is wrong with them?
But like you could say that about literally everything, and yet we get really like the NFL gets really enamored with straight line speed with no pads on. There's pressure. There is definitely pressure to perform in these scenarios.
Yes.
Right. It's not physical pressure, but it is mental pressure when literally all eyes on a stadium are on you for that rep. So yeah, I think performing well in these circumstances at the very, we talk about intangibles and, physical tools, but also the mental tools. That's what especially important with quarterbacks and to a lesser extent, wide receivers.
And I guess like they can only do what's in front of them, right? And that's what the NFL sees fit to have as the workout. You just got to do it. I don't put a lot of stock into it because, these guys have been overdrafted for like the dumbest reasons. Jamarcus Russell was that throw from his knees. Zach Wilson was that pro day throw that was like an Aaron Rodgers throw, which it was. It was also in a pro day, and it's also one play. Like, all these guys are talented, really, is my thing. They're all super talented. They're all NFL caliber players, but we know there's a lot more to it that separates the good ones from the great ones and even from the shitty ones, like mental fortitude, right? Like landing spot. I mean, we can go down the list of what really matters. And it's just another check mark, right? Like, the film is one thing. And for me, I just like to reinforce what I see on film. So in terms of some of the losers, Emmett Johnson, my boy, both my boys that you're not high on that I am, Emmett Johnson and Malachi Fields, did not do well. See, I don't care. See, I didn't move either of them down just because I trust the on-field stuff so much.
Okay.
So you think Emmett Johnson is terrible because he's slow?
No, I don't think he's terrible because he's slow. I think he's terrible because the guys that kept him off the field the 2 years prior were guys that you've never heard of before. So that's a concern in and of itself. And his testing was extremely mediocre. He tested pretty much how I thought that he was going to test. So I mean, you really trust the on-field stuff versus what you saw from him in this week in Indianapolis.
Why did he do the 3-cone? Because he's the only running back to do the 3-cone, and he was like 8th percentile, and that's including his rather small size. I don't understand why he did that, because these guys generally have an idea what their time will be because they're practicing these drills, right? So maybe he just like totally fumbled the bag with that one. But I don't care, dude. No, because why I liked Emmett Johnson was I loved his footwork, which I know the 3-cone drill will say something differently, but I loved his footwork, and I thought he had the best. I know he has the best vision I've seen in years. So like that translates, and all it's going to mean is a team's going to get a value. And for me, Malachi Fields, I never expected him to run a 4.5. I thought he'd run a 4.58. He ran a 4.62. So he's not that much slower than Carnell Tate. How about your boy Carnell Tate, though? If we're going to rip on Emmett Johnson, like Carnell Tate is T. Higgins. T. Higgins speed, he's way smaller.
So speed doesn't really that's not his game necessarily. He is a loser in my mind because of the size, because he weighed in less than I thought. So that size to speed ratio was not as robust as I was hoping. But I think you could also, these guys didn't test Jordan Tyson and Mekhi Lemon. Like, I consider them a little bit of a losers too, because it's perception. Perception is reality. In a relatively weak wide receiver class, these guys had the ability to separate themselves and bolster their draft stock. Instead, they chose not to participate in the on-field drills. And I think that's going to ding them in certain franchises' eyes. Like that, to me, it speaks volumes how these guys chose not to test.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tyson, you understand it because he's coming back from a hamstring injury, which unfortunately, as you know, I was really high on Tyson. The downside of Tyson is he might become Ricky Pearsall, right? A guy that just can't stay healthy. And like, that's the problem. I just feel like he is an elite talent, but I have moved Lemon to 1 and Tyson to 2, just based on him missing the combine. And like, now we just have another little small injury. And I think for him, he was going to be a top 15 pick anyway. And what was the upside of doing it? Like, I give Tate some credit for doing it. He didn't have to do anything, right? Especially because Lemon wasn't doing it and Tyson obviously wasn't. So like, why would he? But I don't know, man. In terms of John, has anything changed with how we feel about the wide receivers? So I think the top 3 guys, I'm a little less bullish on, just based on where I had them. And I'm not talking about Tate, but like my top 3, which was I had Malachi Fields at 3. The rest of it, though, the guys from like 4 to 14 are like, dude, they're all interchangeable. Like I have no idea where these guys are going to go. Like, you have some of the smaller school guys that showed out. I've been talking about Bryce Lance story for a while. He fucking crushed it. Like, he's a legit monster. 4.3 with that size, 6'4". He literally is Christian Watson with better hands. So we saw Christian Watson go in the first round out of that very school. So that's another guy to get thrown in the mix. There's a lot of dudes for that in that like round 2, round 3, early round 4 range, and it could go in any order, right? Yeah,
I mean, I'm surprised you still have Fields at, when he ran a 4.61 at number 3 overall relative to the other guy. I mean, he got a great vert, right? But I think his tape has shown that listen to me, dating myself there. His tape His video has shown that he's got to win early or late. Like his mid-range stuff is very, very suspect. I don't think he's got the ceiling of a Lemon, a Tate, I don't think
No, I just think he's very safe. I think he's going to come in day one. He's a grown man, and I feel like he could be a wide receiver too somewhere. I know he can hold up to playing X and outside. I know he can do that. I know he can beat press. He can bully some guys, and he looks bigger than he actually is. He's only like 216, 6'4", 216. I feel like he plays like he's 230, man. And I just feel like it translates. He's Kenny Golladay. That's who he is. And Kenny Golladay had an awesome 4-year stretch at NIU, and then he just lost it. And I don't know if that was mental or he just, once he got paid, he just gave up. I don't know what the hell happened with Kenny Golladay. Maybe he lost a step. And when you run a 4.6, you can't afford to lose a step because now you're not even NFL caliber speed. But I feel like 4.6, I think we don't really like 4.5 and 4.6. The difference between that time is literally nothing. It is really nothing. Play matters to me. Like what I see on the field. And I love how he attacks the ball. I will go to my grave telling you he's a better ball hawk than Tate is. If you give me a contested catch, he's better. I'm just telling you.
No, you're wrong there, dude. He's not a better contested catch guy than Carnell Tate. Not even close. Carnell Tate's a first-round pick. Malachi Fields will be drafted in the 3rd round. Malachi Fields will struggle to see the field his rookie year, and that'll lead to performance issues in the years to follow. Malachi Fields is off of your board in a rookie draft outside of the first 2 rounds easily.
Well, we are we're on the same team in Dynasty, so we're gonna be fighting over that on the draft day. Okay.
Yeah, you've got take lock on this guy. You've got to go back and reevaluate. Malachi Fields.
I did.
Don't forget, like his production dipped at Notre Dame this year versus where was he? Virginia. The 4 years prior to that, like they
didn't throw him the ball. They didn't throw him the ball.
And why not? Like targets are earned for wide receivers. It's not like a you got to go out there and earn your targets.
Hedrick says, what happened with Lemon's draft interview? I'm out of the loop. It wasn't the interview. It's the fact he didn't do any testing, Hetzer. So he did the on-field stuff. He caught passes from quarterbacks. He did the straight line catch drill, the gauntlet, as they call it, which is my favorite. That's my favorite of all the drills for wide receivers. I love that one.
The most important for me is, do they turn the right way? Because everything happens in a split second. So I don't know. Maybe Metzer is referring to Lemon's answering some questions up at the podium when he was asked who does he remind himself of, and he said Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he was kind of like bouncing a little bit. It almost looked like he was high. I don't think he was, but it almost looked like. Go watch the video. He's kind of bouncing, swaying, bobbing a little bit. It's very odd.
Huh? Maybe he was high. Hetzer saw an article about the Vikings wanting Tua, Kyler, Geno, or bringing back Kirk Cousins. What the fuck are they smoking over there in Minneapolis? Well, some of those names are very suspect, including Tua and Geno are very suspect, as well as Kirk Cousins. Kyler, I understand. Maybe Malik Willis, but I could pull up the clip, the blurb here. They hate JJ McCarthy. That's the bottom line. They hate JJ McCarthy, and with you read the thing about them saying they stopped throwing over the middle. Like they publicly put that out. So like I don't know what they're doing, talking shit about their own player, because if they're trying to trade him, he already had no trade value. Like I'm saying, maybe 3rd or 4th round. Now you're gonna get like a 5th rounder for him. Story. So like, what are they doing in Minnesota?
It sounds like they're circling the wagons to protect Kevin O'Connell. I think Kevin O'Connell should be taken down a notch, in our opinion of him, as the quarterback whisperer. Sam Darnold, although he wasn't particularly impressive in the Super Bowl. He was extremely game managerish. But the fact that he led Seattle to a 15-win season and to a Super Bowl victory after leaving Kevin O'Connell in that system, and then Kevin O'Connell couldn't make heads or tails out of J.J. McCarthy or Max Brosmer. Now, Brosmer's not his fault. That was a terrible pick by the Vikings as their backup. But I think we need to be reconsidering Kevin O'Connell as the quarterback whisperer, in my opinion.
What I'm saying is, if they plan on keeping JJ McCarthy, all they're doing is fucking with his head. If they plan on trading JJ McCarthy, all they're doing is tanking his value. So like, just shut up. You know what I'm saying? We all know he sucks. They know he sucks. He knows he sucks. Everyone knows he sucks. So like, what's the point of putting these things out there? It just doesn't make any sense to me. We all know this stuff, you know?
I mean, yeah, weird motivations. I don't know if this is like to try to light a fire under McCarthy's butt, but I don't until you can get in the head of the GM, or unless you're in those meetings, there's absolutely no reasoning for this that we can see. They must have some reason to leak that information.
It's got to be something. I do have a question for you. Gun to your head.
Say somebody put a gun to your head. Said, do you want your baby to be lighter or darker? What would you choose?
Why is someone holding a gun to my head
It's
and
a
asking me
hypothetical.
what shade I would prefer my son to be?
I don't know. So
Why is he putting a gun to her head?
he wants to find out what your preference is. So you're walking down the street with Will, and he snatches you into the backseat of the car, and now he's got a gun to your head. You want a lighter or darker baby?
A lot of rumblings that Derek Carr is going to come out of retirement, right? Would you rather have Derek Carr next year starting for the Vikings, or would you rather have J.J. McCarthy? Like, what gives you a better chance to win?
Derek Carr.
That's all I need to know. Then that means J.J. McCarthy, at least for the short term, has no hope, because you don't have extreme hope about Derek Carr. You just think he's a professional quarterback, correct?
He's a professional quarterback, and he managed the Raiders in a pretty solid way. He knows what he's doing, and he understands the assignment. J.J. McCarthy doesn't even understand the assignment. J.J. McCarthy doesn't even realize that he's sitting in the classroom, let alone understanding the assignment. He's still staring off into space with that weird grimace scowl on his face.
He's still walking around. If he walks around town, he's signing people's cell phones when they're taking pictures or videos. He's like, check it out, man. I'm 9. Jonathan says Cooper Jr. in Indiana will be interesting. That's another guy that, like, surprisingly, his stock is way up, and he didn't even do much. But I think it was people expected him to run the 4.5s, but he ran a 4.43, which for his size isn't that impressive. But I think his tape is so good that, like, now he's above average athleticism. He checked all those boxes, and the tape's amazing, and people love this kid. So I've been reading a lot of some people saying he could go ahead of Tyson. Like, he is going to be wide receiver 4.
I'm not sure you got everything correct in there. I thought I saw a 4.42 for him.
Okay, yeah, 4.42. Yeah,
I mean, it's fast, right? He's got a decent vertical, 37 inches or something like that.
Yeah.
He's got problems. I think part of the issue is going to be what we talked about a couple nights ago with his inability to get in and out of breaks cleanly. And for the type of wide receiver that he profiles, that's going to be an issue. So it will be. This is going to be extremely. I know a lot of these guys are landing spot dependent, but I think you can make landing spot independent conclusions on Jeremiah Love. You know, the top guys in the class, guys like Cooper, like you gotta know where he's going. Like, if he goes to Tennessee, it's a death sentence, right? If he goes to Los Angeles and he spends a little time getting to know the system, he could be a productive guy in fantasy in a couple years.
You know who really disappointed me was Surratt, dude. I don't know if you watched the on-field drills with him. He dropped so many balls, like even in the quarterback stuff where they're just running for the quarterbacks. He's missed playing balls. He wasn't judging it well over his shoulder. He dropped, I think, 2 passes in the gauntlet. Like, this guy is supposed to be a hands guy, right? Like, he's not a speedster. He's not overly huge. So, like, he's supposed to be that intangible, like a poor man's Puka Nacua. And he looks like none of that. So, like, Cooper, for me, I had Cooper and Surratt like relatively close. Like, I was lower on them the most, like 9 and 10. I'm going to probably move Cooper up a couple spots, and Surratt's not even touching my top 10 now, especially because he didn't run.
I mean, like, it's possible that Mendoza paved over a lot of cracks in that wide receiver room this year.
Yes.
Like, I do have concerns about these guys just from the way that they tested and how things came out. Surratt spent he did follow Cignetti from James Madison over to Indiana, but his 2024 season wasn't particularly noteworthy. It was pretty good, but it wasn't like blow the doors off, blow your socks off. This is disappointing. And I think that Mendoza probably masked a lot of deficiencies there.
Yeah, and it was, you heard a lot of stuff about how their connection was so great. He was the master of, like, the back shoulder. Like, I give the quarterback way more credit than the wide receiver on those plays. And my comparison that's really recent is Washington. And I'm not trying to say Roma Dunze is a bust yet, but Jalen Polk is definitely a bust. He's out of the league, bro. And Jalen Polk was he a early second-round pick, the Patriots?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, go figure. The Patriots take an early second-round pick receiver that does absolutely nothing in the NFL. Well,
who's the guy from Washington State that you were like, he's got to catch a ball sometime, right? Last year, the rookie, Ryan Williams. Not Ryan Williams. What's his name?
Oh, God, who we talking? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was. God, he was at Washington State, and I told you like they've got a bad track record with drafting wide receivers.
But like Jalen Polk was a second-round pick, and his film was actually pretty good. I mean, he was kind of slow. He comps to Surratt for me, and like the fact that he was drafted that high and he's literally out of the league, like he makes Keon Coleman look like Odell Beckham right now. You know what I'm saying? Like at least Keon Coleman has had a couple like spots in the NFL. You know that game against the Bills or the Ravens, week 1, that was good. Like he's had a couple games where he kind of showed out a little bit. Like Jalen Polk has done nothing. He's fumbled. He's dropped passes. He's also been a knucklehead. So. And I think Jalen McMillan's fine, right? But Roma Dunze is disappointed. Like, so like all 3 of those guys were highly drafted, highly touted. And we might get one good pro out of those 3. So if it's between Cooper and Surratt, for me, it's definitely Cooper, like by a mile. Are you on that same page?
Yeah, I am there too. Don't forget that Denzel Boston was on that team that had all those guys too. He might be the guy that we get that is actually productive coming out of Washington.
Do you like him? Because he didn't really impress me. And I'm not going to say like because he dropped a couple of passes. His movements and his film's just, it's so hard to tell. Sometimes the combine's almost more important in a way because you're not seeing defenders, because sometimes it's hard to judge the caliber of defender. Where in this, you're just watching these guys move like next to each other, right? All these elite prospects. And Denzel Boston, I know he's a huge guy, but he just did not impress me. His hips are pretty stiff, man. And he doesn't seem like a natural catcher of the ball. And like those are red flags for me. And I know his size is going to get him drafted probably in the 2nd round, but is size enough for a guy like that?
Yeah, well, so he didn't test. Like he participated in the drills, but he didn't test. And so there's a yellow flag, just like Mekhi Lemon right off the bat, number 1. I don't necessarily agree with you when it comes to being a natural catcher of the ball. I think that's fine. I think the biggest challenge is he's not really a natural receiver. Everything looks a little clunky, I guess. He's not very, do you know what I mean? He's not very fluid, right? He doesn't seem to me like the position is natural to him. He's working way too hard on it. So you're right. His size 6'3", did he 6'3" or 6'4"?
Yeah, I think it's 6'3.5".
Okay.
It's pretty big.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, it's right in the middle.
3.5, 210. Like his size will definitely get him drafted in the 2nd round. Whether or not that translates into the NFL, I have a lot of questions. And again, like anytime a guy chooses not to participate, like it's going to raise some eyebrows. A lot of teams are not going to like that. And this isn't like not playing in your bowl game or not playing in the Senior Bowl because you don't want to get hurt, right? This is like there's almost no injury risk to participating in these drills. And if you don't like that, what are you I don't know. I think some GMs look at it like, what are you hiding there?
And some people will say his size will mask what you said about him just kind of being robotic and not so much not agile. He just looks stiff. And I'll tell you this much. DK Metcalf is his biggest weakness, right? Is his agility and him being stiff, right? And DK Metcalf is the freak of all freaks, size, speed. Like he is such a better prospect than Denzel Boston. It's not even funny. And we all would agree DK Metcalf is kind of disappointed throughout his career, just based on his physical gifts, right? And I feel like he struggles with that. And if Boston struggles with that, like Boston is like literally the D- version of DK Metcalf as an athlete. So if Metcalf has been struggling with the same things, like I'm a little worried about Denzel Boston. And I did have him at wide receiver 5, and I went back after I watched just how he looked at the combine, and I moved him down, man. I moved Tate ahead of him. Just for you.
Go back and watch some of the games this year, in particular the game against Boise State. Like Boston has trouble like against press corners. Like he gets knocked off of contact far too often for a guy like DK. I guess it's a good analogy. DK Metcalf to me has always been like there's nobody else that has the physical tools that he does. Like go back and look at his time at Ole Miss. But mentally, I don't think he can hack it in the NFL as a true number 1 wide receiver. He just doesn't seem like he's all the way there. Otherwise, why wouldn't he be dominating cornerbacks on a regular basis? He's got
one, he's awful against zone, right? That's the biggest like Achilles heel for him is he has not like leveled up as a player in terms of like savviness, right? And then number 2 is he is stiff and like he is pretty easy to read in those routes. So like JSN, like the biggest trick JSN has is that his head is on a swivel. You can never predict his movements, and he's so quick. Like DK is not quick. He's He's like Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry's very, very fast when he gets going, but Derrick Henry, if you get him in the backfield, Derrick Henry's very slow. And DK Metcalf, if he's not on his spot and it's not that perfect little quick slant and go, like he's definitely guardable. And like DK Metcalf's just so much better with the ball in his hands. When he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he's just kind of an average receiver, and that's with 4.3 speed with that size. It's wild.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's crazy that the teams don't trust him. Neither Seattle nor Pittsburgh trusted him enough to get the ball in his hands to manufacture touches. Why aren't they doing more bubble screens? Why aren't they moving him around the formation, jet sweeps, short stuff, sluggos, mesh routes, anything to get him the ball and get him moving in space? You're right. He's not quick out of his breaks. Also, his footwork is pretty bad. And like, watch his hips. Like, he telegraphs exactly which way he's going to move. Mm-hmm. So for me, again, a lot of that stuff, like JSN had some of those issues at Ohio State, but he has improved his game tremendously over the 3 years or 3 years. How long's he been in the NFL? 2 years? Doesn't matter. DK Metcalf has he's never elevated his game. He's never taken it to that next level. It's easy to do against SEC corners, right? And SEC linebackers, but in the NFL, it's a different beast altogether. You could be lazy out of your break against, Kentucky's number 2 cornerback because you're the better athlete by far. But when cornerbacks are being drafted in, the top 6, because they're tremendous athletes who have vision and speed and everything else that you see at the next level, like I have concerns with guys that have issues getting past that. And I think Denzel Boston, he showed. Go back and watch a little bit. He's kind of in that mold for me.
Jonathan says they will trade J.J. McCarthy for a washing machine like in semi-pro. What do you think they can realistically fetch for J.J. McCarthy with, all the things they're saying? Is it a 4th-round pick or is it still a 3rd-round pick?
No,
he's 21 years old.
Yeah, he's young. God, I think an early 3rd.
That's
maybe.
Gross. They should do it. They should just do it. They should just do it. Get rid of that shit. Kyle Shanahan would. Kyle Shanahan would.
Cut bait. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem in the NFL and most sport franchises is the lack of understanding sunk costs, right? You spent the number 1 overall pick. It was clearly a bad decision. Now you're trying to hold out for something that you're never going to get. You might as well take what you can get and move on and then figure out the franchise from there.
Make him someone else's problem. You know what I mean? Because he would become someone else's problem. Or, you know what? Sometimes a change of scenery is also very good. Hatcher says, does A.J. Brown go to another team next year? Give me the odds that A.J. Brown plays on the Eagles. Is it 50-50?
I think it's closer to 50-50. Most people think that A.J. Brown is probably gone because of the comments that Jeff Lurie's made, the comments that A.J. Brown has made. But they're going to want a 2nd-round pick. And I think only one franchise is actually willing to give a 2nd-round pick, and that's the New England Patriots. So unless Vrabel ponies up that 2nd-round pick, I think A.J. Brown's going to stick around Philadelphia.
But that 2nd-round pick is essentially a 3rd-round pick because it's pick 62 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it was a team that was picking 34, then that's almost a 1st-round pick, right? That's fine. But like 60, you might as well get a 3rd-round pick at that point. And I think they're trying to get a 1st-round pick Story.
You think they're
going to obviously try? I mean, it's business, right? You always try to go higher. But no, I think that they think they can get a 1st-round pick, like the Patriots' 1st-round pick, which would be pick 30, 31. I think they can get that.
I don't know that the Patriots would be willing to part with their 1st-round pick. Like,
well, Denzel Boston, the guy we were just talking about, might go pick 31, right? Malachi Fields, he probably won't go that high. I'm saying like those are the caliber of players.
Malachi Fields won't be drafted in the first 2 rounds. I guarantee.
No, I saw a mock. I did see a mock that him going to the Bills, and that would make sense because the Bills are stupid. But like those are the caliber players I'm saying that you're going to get with that pick. Yes, they're probably better for the long term, but like right now, the Patriots are in win now mode. They have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal that's hot. They have a decent roster. So, like, would you rather have A.J. Brown or Denzel Boston? Like, it's not close to me. It's A.J. Brown.
Right. It is A.J. Brown. But again, these coaches don't get to where they're at by thinking that somebody else knows better. They think they're smarter than everybody else. And if Vrabel's like, we're not going to give up anything other than a 2nd-round pick, even though 30, 31, wherever they're picking is basically a 2nd-round pick anyway, I wouldn't be surprised to see. I mean, just look at what happened with Breece Hall and the Chiefs and the Jets last year. What's the difference between a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick? In the long run, like your hit rates on 3rd-round picks are probably slightly higher than 4th-round picks, but the Jets weren't willing to take a 4th-rounder and the Chiefs weren't willing to give up a 3rd-rounder. So, like,
do you hate GMs as much as you hate coaches? Because I think I'm the GM hater. I don't know if you saw they had Chris Ballard on the broadcast for the combine. That guy's an idiot, bro. Did you hear him talk?
He had a run of some really good decisions and some really good drafts for like 2 years. And the rest of the time, he's a raging moron. I don't understand why Carly Irsay-Smith hasn't fired him. I don't.
No, because he was really tight with Jim. He was super tight with Jim Irsay. That's why.
Yeah. So like GMs, the problem. It's another. The problem with GMs is like they're even more insulated than coaches because coaches take the brunt of what we see on the field, the results, right? Even though GMs can fail upwards regularly, look at Ryan Poles, who's just a guy who's failed upwards his entire career. GMs tend to get, they tend to make friends with the owners. They tend to make friends with the, NFL insiders. It's a lot easier to replace a head coach than it is to replace a GM, even though most GMs are probably dumb as rocks.
I mean, I just don't. I was looking at his record. It's essentially he's a 500 GM in 2016 is when he took over, and they're 1-1 in the playoffs in 10 years. One win, one playoff win in 10 years, and he drafted Anthony Richardson. Like, do I have to say anything else? Like, he was responsible for that, and he traded 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner. Like, we all knew that was a bad trade, and now they're fucked. That's more
playoff wins than the Cowboys have had in the last 10 years. And Jerry Jones isn't going to fire himself as the GM.
I mean, he should. Yeah, but at least that's kind of a tough division. At least you have the Eagles there. You know what I mean? Like this division they're in, it's for the taking every year. Like there's not been a good team. The Titans were okay for a while, but like the Titans are the Titans. So the guy talking, he was just not impressive to me at all. He just seemed like a guy I'd want to drink beers with. Like I don't want my GM to be a guy I want to drink beers with. I want my GM to be cold and calculated. That's what it takes to be a winning GM.
I do think you need to give Indy a little bit of runway because that team was firing on all cylinders up until Daniel Jones's injury. So if he hadn't gotten hurt, there's a strong possibility they would have won that division and maybe even continued on to get a first round bye. We don't know.
That's true. They also had a very, very soft schedule, though. So I mean, who knows? And we all knew they were frauds, but. This Aaron Jones situation, I don't know if you saw this. Aaron Jones, they're cutting him. They're going to try to trade, but I don't want him on the Bears. What do you think about going forward for the Vikings? So we didn't talk about Mike Washington yet, but I think Mike Washington would be a great fit. He's definitely going to be overdrafted now because like me and you were on the Mike Washington thing way before. And like I liked him because he was going to be, and I still like him now. I thought he was going to be like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And now like I could see him going in the 2nd round, dude. Which I mean, I guess his measurables are that insane. I get it, but Aaron Jones gone. They can't go with Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason is not a starting running back in the NFL.
I warned people that he wasn't a starting running back in the NFL last year when everybody was hyping on him. Yeah. Man, I don't like Washington to Minnesota makes a ton of sense. Like 99% weight adjusted speed score and athleticism for Mike Washington. Just an incredible year. Like he was fine at New Mexico, but he had a great year here at Arkansas. Like huge running success rate. I think that's a really good fit. And remember, like Kevin O'Connell's touted as a quarterback whisperer, but the Vikings have been a running team for as long as I can remember. They love keeping the ball on the ground, even with Justin Jefferson there.
It's a juicy spot for a rookie, though, because we were talking about, I don't know if it was me or you or me and Chaz, we're talking about how there's just not a lot of open spots for running backs, and it's a weak running back class, but there's not really a lot of open spots, and there's a lot of committees, but like every team pretty much has a guy. There seems like the Titans that might cut Tony Pollard, but usually there's like 5 or 6 or 7 spots for like a running back that's a top 3 round pick to be the starter. Even a team like the Texans, like, would a guy like Mike Washington automatically be the starter over Woody Marks? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's just not many spots. But the Vikings seem to be that spot because they would start over Jordan Mason.
They would probably utilize a committee. I think they're trending in that direction. I know that when Aaron Jones, prior to Jordan Mason being there, even when Jordan Mason was there, they utilized a more of a lead back scenario, a 1A to 1B, more of a 1 to 2. But I think they're trending towards every team is trending towards a rotation, right? A committee, so to speak. A lot of it depends. Does Mike Washington go in round 2 or round 3? I think that's going to determine where we're going to look at him from a fantasy perspective. If he goes around 3, doesn't get the draft capital, I think that, he's got a guy that we're going to want to keep an eye on. Rookies tend to come on later in the year. If he gets day 2 draft capital, I'm going to be really targeting him, especially in best ball drafts, because he's got the combination that we want to see in a guy that's 220, 225 to actually break onto the field early in the season.
Yeah, we saw my comp was Raheem Mostert. Remember, I gave you that copy before he ran the 40. And even I didn't expect he was going to run a 4.33. I was like 4.38, 4.4, it's like we really good with his size and speed. Even 4.45 would have been really good with that size. But this is unreal. And also the guy is just chiseled, dude. Like you could tell he worked his ass off. You saw him crying after the 40. And like it's a very valid point that this is why I get pissed at people that always say athletes are overpaid. Like these motherfuckers have put their entire life into this, man. And like time, effort, energy, sacrifice, you name it, man. Coming back from injuries, like that's a dark space for a lot of people. Look at Rondale Moore, dude. It's a dark space. And these guys deal with this shit on a daily basis. It's their entire life. It's such a competitive field. Like there's so many doctors and so many teachers. There's only so many NFL players, only so many athletes that like make it to the tippy top. So like seeing him cry was actually, it was a heartwarming moment in a pretty clownish event, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a
very clownish.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna hit you guys with the intro. Keep on getting your questions in here, and we'll get to all of them after this. I hate looking at Carson Beck. What an ugly, weird-looking dude. He seems like a prick too. You think he's a prick?
Yeah. Oh, he's a prick. Have you not heard him in interviews?
I tried. I turned it off because I don't want to look at him.
Dude, he was a prick going back to his freshman year at Georgia.
Yeah. I don't like him at all. He did kind of impress me, but I don't like him. You know who's also not a prick? It's Helen Hunt.
Oh, Helen Hunt. Like we talked about. Very nice lady.
Yeah, she's cute. Very nice later. Okay, real quick, shout out to the Patreon Army. Appreciate all of you guys for supporting the channel. If you're interested in supports, professionalfanatics.com or link in the description. Besides just supporting us, access to the Discord community, 70 people strong, community fantasy leagues, and I have like 5 or 6 redraft leagues you guys can join. Play against us, play with us. Definitely play with me. You know what I mean? Guest appearances on the pod, sit next to me in story, talk some ball, free merchandise giveaways, free hats, free shirts. You name it. Access to my bets, early access to my bets, 96 and 58 guys. We're crushing, always crushing. Story's gonna be doing some college football bets next season to get both days. You'll have Thursday bets, and there's college games. What, pretty much almost every day of the week. Story.
Every day except Sunday.
5 days, 4 days.
Every
there
day.
You go. Yeah, you got to keep Sunday in the NFL.
Yeah, Tuesday through. Well, it doesn't start with Tuesdays right away, but midway through the season, we get Tuesday night games, Wednesday night games, Thursday games, Friday games, and then, of course, Saturday. The best day of the week.
Sunday's the best day of the week, but that's fine. That's fine. Imagine Joe Flacco to the Vikings. Joe Flacco would be better than J.J. McCarthy, right? Anyone is better.
Yeah, but what's the point? Like, you use a bridge quarterback for what reason? He's not going to win you a Super Bowl.
No, neither would Derek Carr, though. You know what I mean? Like, you got to bring in some. Like, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers than all those guys.
No, that's
which
fair.
is not really great. He's old. Dakota says Ballard responsible for bringing players like Matt Forte, Chris Tillman, Tommy Harris, Kyle Long to the Bears as a scout. He has a lot of hits. I'm just saying, like recent, it's not been good. And the Colts have had a good roster. I guess their biggest problem has been quarterback. But I'm sorry, the Anthony Richardson draft pick is you can't defend it. And then I think that's even worse is that trade that is made, right? Sauce Gardner trade 2 firsts. That is bad, dude. I do you think Sauce Gardner is even worth 1 first?
No, I don't. Does he mean Charles Tillman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, who's Chris Tillman? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Chris Tillman's the Cardinals guy that died in Afghanistan.
Yeah, no, that's
thank you for your service.
That's Pat Tillman. That's
Pat Tillman. God damn it. It's a Tillman.
Tommy Harris. I think didn't Tommy Harris play for the Colts too? Didn't he go like follow Ballard to the Colts? You know,
yeah, I think he also got arrested a couple times.
You know, I met Matt Forte, Chris Tillman, and Kyle Long all at the same event.
Charles Tillman. You called him Chris Tillman.
Did I call him Chris Tillman? Yeah, I met him all at the same charity event in Rosemont.
Peanut seems like a great dude. Peanut seems like a great dude to hang out with.
He
a smile on his face.
You know who's quiet? Matt Forte. So this is a funny story. So we're at this charity event. There's like it's at the bowling, the Kings Lanes in Rosemont. So it's there. They got this like second level down, and it's where the bar is, and that's where all the players are. You got to have one of these VIP badges. My buddy got me one of those badges. You go and you could talk to players, chat them up. They don't have any interest in talking to you. They're there because their agent's like, this would be good, whatever. You can take pictures with them, but dude, they bring out the food, and like all those guys just stand at the tables and they just eat. And they just don't stop eating. I saw Matt Forte put down so many goddamn chicken wings. It was a sight to behold.
Hell yeah. You gotta maintain that body weight, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta have those calories to burn.
I met Tillman. Tillman is a huge man.
Like 6'3", right? 6'2"?
Oh,
6'3"?
Yeah. And Forte is like 6
corner.
foot tall. He's taller than me.
No, I think Forte was 6'2", man. He was a really tall running back. Really tall running back.
He's 6'2". We'll find out. As soon as I find this picture, we'll find out.
Yeah. Dan says the Patriots will trade a second for A.J. Brown. Kraft won't pay the $28 million contract. Well, you can bet your ass if they only get a second-round pick and it's the Patriots' second-round pick 62, they're not paying any of the contract. Like, that's going to be the thing. If they get a higher draft pick, they might eat some of the contract, but like there's no way they're paying some of the contract and taking a late second-round pick for A.J. Brown. Like, they're just going to keep him on the team because they also don't give a fuck about like team camaraderie, right? Like they're just going to run it back. And I mean, A.J. Brown could have been gone after last year. Even if they won the Super Bowl, he was a problem last year, as in 2024, reading books and just bitching. So obviously you see the guys they draft like a bunch of knuckleheads, Jalen Carter, guys like that. So like, I don't think the Eagles care.
I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to find this picture, which I did find, by the way.
Yeah.
There's me and Peanut Tillman.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, he is tall. Jesus.
Yeah, and there's me and Matt Forte.
Heyo, what up, Matt? Matt's a cool guy. What a cool guy. Nice beard.
Yeah.
He's got a good facial hair game.
Anyway, what was the question? I wasn't paying attention.
I was saying that the Eagles won't pay if they get a second rounder from the Patriots, that late second rounder. They're not paying any of the contract for that. If they get a first rounder, they'll pay a majority of the contract, I'm sure. But they're not taking a lesser pick and taking a cap hit.
No,
they wouldn't. There's no way.
They can't afford to take the cap hit, I don't think.
No, and they wouldn't anyway, just out of just being stubborn. But I was saying that the Eagles, they don't care about their locker room. Like they're above that. They like treat their players like they're all professionals. And you see it with how they draft all these guys that have problems coming out of college. They're just like, fuck it, bring them in our environment, and we'll make a man out of them. Right? Jalen Carter's been pretty fine besides spitting on people. I mean, I guess that's a big thing, but
that's a pretty big thing. But on the field, he's been fine. I mean, yeah. I should say, before the whistle, he's been fine.
Yeah. Hetzer says Texans going to need some running backs too. Well, yeah, we have Woody Marks is we call him the blue tents merchant. He owns the blue tent. He's in there every game. He is not a lead back. They've also said as much that he's not a lead back. Yeah. So he's the third down back. They need a banger. They need somebody. Jonah Coleman would be good there.
They're not going to.
That'd be a good spot.
They're not going to draft some. I have a feeling they're going to sign somebody like a
Walker,
like a Rico Dowdle kind of guy. Like I feel like they're gonna want a veteran back there. Like the fact that Mixon was going to be the guy. I don't think he plays another down in the NFL. And then they signed Chubb and he has completely lost it. And they tried everything they could, everything in their power to get Woody Marks to be the guy. Very inefficient on the field. Obviously, blue tent merchant, as we mentioned. I think they're going to look to sign somebody in free agency. And they still might draft somebody, but I have a strong feeling they're going to actually go out and get somebody.
Well, maybe Seth McGowan. That'd be a good spot for him, right?
It would be a good spot.
He was impressive.
Yeah, I don't
think... I was talking him up. I was talking him up, and he dominated, dude. Fucking crazy metrics.
Dude, no,
I like his story, too.
He was not on the fantasy radar, the college fantasy radar at the start of the year, and I miss snatching him up after week one. I still kicking myself on that one.
I like his story too now, because I feel like he actually paid his dues. The guy served 3 months in jail. like not just like a slap on the wrist. He served jail time, and the fact that he came back, had to play in a Division II school or whatever it was, and then worked all the way up to Kentucky, and now he's beyond in the draft process. Like he is firmly going to be drafted on maybe late day 2, early day 3. And dude, he's 225 pounds, not super fast. He ran a 4.48, but that like not everyone's Mike Washington. You know what I mean? Not everyone can have that size and run that speed. Super fast for his size, and just the explosiveness of his broad jump and his vertical it was a sight to be seen, man.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I'm really happy for him.
Mid 80s adjusted athleticism score. He had an incredible vertical, like one of the best verticals we've seen in the last 2 decades. Really good broad jump too. So he did like he's not like a 99th percentile, but his 4.49 in combination with the other metrics, I think somebody might get enamored with him, and we might see him creep up into round 2. That's a tough nut to crack, but he's probably a round 3 pick. But he definitely improved his draft stock.
You know who I saw when I was watching his film, and this is going to probably be the weirdest comp you're ever going to hear? Philip Lindsay. And Philip Lindsay was tiny, remember? Like 5'10", like 195. But remember how hard Philip Lindsay ran?
Yeah.
Had a nice little career. Philip Lindsay had like 6 years of like 800+ yards rushing. Pretty nice little career. And like it's actually a ringing endorsement for McGowan that I'm comparing him to a 195-pound player, right? Like in terms of how he moves. And I like him, man. I like him, and I think that some teams might be scared off because of the arrest. You know, it was armed robbery. For me, it's quite the opposite, because if that's a one-off, I feel like he learned his lesson and he worked so hard to get back here. Like, I mean, you saw it with Joe Mixon. Like Joe Mixon's actually he's kept his nose pretty clean in the NFL, and like he had red flags all over the place, Story. And he's like, "Fuck it, this is my chance to make money." And what has Joe Mixon done? Made fucking money.
And kept his nose clean. You forget, like, Joe Mixon's time in Oklahoma was fraught with scandal, controversy, right?
On video, Story, which is the worst kind of scandal.
Yeah,
punching a chick in the face.
No, I've been a huge fan of Seth McGowan. I think he definitely increases draft. I think I might have been a little aggressive with a second round, but definitely a day. I don't know if I would hope that somebody takes him in day 2. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, PZ, what team drafts Love? So he was already going to be a top 10 pick, pretty much locked in before the combine. And seeing that guy on the field, dude, he's next level, just huge. His arms are long, he's running routes from like the out wide just to fuck around in the combine. Where do you see, like, what's the earliest he could go? Is it 3? Is it a possibility that Cardinals take him?
Yeah, there's definitely a possibility to him going to Arizona at 3. I think he goes to Tennessee. I definitely think he solidified himself as a top 5 pick. There's a lot of good defensive players that Tennessee definitely needs that could land in that spot. But I think if he falls to them at 4, they're going to jump on taking him.
So let me ask you this. I'm a huge Tyler Algier fan. And that is for me, that's the perfect landing spot. You cut Pollard, you re-sign Tajay Spears to a pretty cheap deal. And you can get Algier for, what do you think Algier is going to cost? $6.5, $7 million a year, 3 years, 21 million, something like that.
That's it. Realistically.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking Kenneth Walker is only going to get $12 or $13 million a year. Algier's not getting 9, bro.
I mean, I would think that Algier is going to hold out for a starting gig, don't you?
No, it would be a starting gig. I'm saying, but like, it's going to be a cheap, he's an under the radar player. So like, would you rather sign that contract, sign Algier and take, a Bain or one of these edge rushers, which you sorely need at Tennessee? Or would you rather, invest in edge rushers? There's not that many. There's Trey Henderson, for instance. You could sign him and then you draft Love. Like, what's the better path? Because I think they're still a couple years away. And it doesn't mean that Jeremiah Love won't be a focal point when they win down the road. But I feel like Tyler Algier is a good player. So it's a tough one because he is the second best player in this draft. Would you agree?
Jeremiah Love or Tyler Algier?
Love.
Because he's not in this draft.
No, Love.
Yeah. No,
he would be.
I think he's how do you compare Mendoza and Love? It's near impossible. But I think he's the best offensive prospect in this entire draft, Love. He tested incredibly well. I was just looking at Joe Mixon's contract because I wanted to know, like, okay, like if Algiers got to make more than Mixon on the open market, right? Mixon made $7 million as a base last year, and he's set to make $8 million as a base this year. So
Joe Mixon was a big name, though, bro, coming off badass season after badass season with the Bengals. Like,
you know
what I mean? He's a better pass catcher. Like, Tyler Algier is not a 3-down back. That's the difference. He's not. He can catch some passes, but he's not a 3-down back. That's the difference.
I don't know. Like, back to Jeremiah Love, like his speed score, 212 pounds. He runs a 4.36 or something like that. I mean, he really comps to Saquon Barkley coming out. Like, I think that, yeah. I mean, if Arizona doesn't get a little nippy, then I think he's going to Tennessee.
The Arizona things, I still have hope for Trey Benson. Am I crazy for hoping for Trey Benson? They did spend an early 3rd round pick on Trey Benson, dude.
Yeah, well, an early 3rd round pick 2 years later is nothing. 3 years later now,
yeah.
is
plus a different regime too.
It's literally meaningless. That pick is dead and gone.
I get it. I just don't know. Like the Cardinals, I feel like the Titans are closer to winning than the Cardinals. And I actually know that they're closer to winning the Cardinals because the Cardinals have the hardest division of all time. Titans have a chance in this division in a year or two, maybe even this upcoming year. We've seen this before. I'm telling you, the Cardinals are not even sniffing 3rd place, dude.
I'm not arguing. I think the Cardinals and the Titans are both bottom of the barrel, but the Titans have, with things breaking the right way, they might stumble into a wild card. There's no way that the Cardinals are making the playoffs this year.
So that's why Love makes more sense to the Titans, because you can kind of convince yourself, because we all know like taking a running back is foolish that early unless you have you're close, either one piece away from Super Bowl or even one piece away from the playoffs. Like Bijan was just too good to pass up, and Love is almost on that level. He's not Bijan, guys. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you, Bijan is a Adrian Peterson level prospect. He always was coming out. He is much closer to a Gibbs prospect. I know you threw out Saquon Barkley's name. Love is only 210 pounds, dude. Like, he's powerful, but like, Bijan and Saquon's 230 pounds. Let's not forget Saquon's 230. Bijan's 215, 220. So I know Love has more of he's more of a home run hitter than Bijan is, but you agree that Bijan's a better prospect than Love?
Yes, I definitely agree on that. Bijan was one of the best prospects that we've seen in the last 20 years, for sure.
Yeah, and Gibbs is right there. It's the Gibbs thing. I think Gibbs is the most valid count.
You don't take a running back unless you're right there, but teams will drop luxury picks all the time. The Giants shouldn't have drafted Saquon Barkley. They weren't particularly close, and he languished for years behind that offensive line and still crushed it. So to me, it feels like we know the follies of taking a running back in the very early part of the 1st round, but teams will fall in love with a player, and then the next thing you know, Jeremiah Love is gone at 4.
It does take pressure off a young quarterback. That's why I like the Tennessee fit, because you have your quarterback in place. Where like the Cardinals don't even have their quarterback in place. We're like getting that player for Cam Ward and solidifying the offensive line, just focusing on that. Screw the playmakers, maybe get a veteran in there. But like, what would you value for the Titans? Would you rather have them than take let's say it was Carnell Tate. Let's say they trade down and take Tate at 8. You love Carnell Tate. Is that more important? What would be the best for Cam Ward? Would it be getting a Tate, getting a bona fide number 1 he can grow with, or getting that supercharged running back that can catch passes and do it all out of the backfield and really keep the defense honest is the point?
I know what you're getting at, but realistically, like the best thing for Cam Ward would be to keep the defense on the field longer. And so like a Sonny Styles and Avil Reese, a freaking like a David Bailey, like they need like edge and linebacker help more so than they need defense. I'm just worried that the Titans GM is going to be a little punchy and go out there and maybe drop down and then take a Carnell Tate at 8 or 9 or whatever. Like if the Saints want to move up and get their guy, so they move up to 4 and they draft Jeremiah Love, and now the Titans feel like, okay, so we can draft Carnell Tate, but they need defensive help. Like that should be their priority in the draft, 100%. Same with the Cardinals. Honestly, like the Cardinals might take Jeremiah Love, but they desperately need defensive help too.
Well, the difference is the Cardinals have an offensive head coach, and Robert Saleh is the head coach in Tennessee. Robert Saleh wants one of those elite edges because they are elite. They need it. That defense is atrocious, dude. Yeah. It is so bad. It is so bad.
like if Arvell Reese drops, Tennessee should swoop in and absolutely take him there.
Did you hear this report about Ashton Genty? They want to have a compliment, which is coach speak of coach speak, if you ask me. Obviously, you always need another guy in there. Ashton Genty's not going to take 100% of the touches, 100% of the snaps, but like he's not going to have a less of a workload than he had last year, right? There's just no way it'd be the same, maybe more.
I think Ashton Genty had like the 4th most carries of any rookie over the last 25 years, something like that. So it's very possible that he has a lower workload than last year. Like,
what's weird about that story is remember in the early part of the season they were actually taking him off the field a lot for that white running back. Oh,
Dylan Lobby.
Yeah, dude. So like I'm saying, even with what you said about him having all these touches, that's including the first 6 weeks of the season where he's only playing like 65% of the snaps. So I feel like they drafted him this high. Like he is not a small running back. Like Ashton Genty's a monster. You don't have any injury concerns with him or him wearing down. He's young. Like I don't know why they would do that. They have to. He's the best player they have in offense besides Bowers. Keep him on the fucking field. You got to bring someone in just for like you need someone better than Raheem Mostert. I think is the point.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But I think we have to take Clint Kubiak at his word. Remember, like he orchestrated this split between Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. He's the one that put that scheme into place. Loved having 2 backs on the field. So I think Ashton Genty absolutely could have some of his workload taken away. I'm very worried about Ashton Genty this year.
I'm not.
I am.
Well, I'm not worried about the workload. I'm worried about the offense. That's the worry. It's like how many touchdowns can he score? It's not the workload.
Well, I mean, if they do take what was his total snap percentage for running backs last year?
Ashton Genty. It ended up probably being top 3, top 2,
right.
maybe.
So, and Clint Kubiak coming in, you're telling me that he's not going to want to have a 60-40 split?
He does, but that would just be foolish because that makes the already bad pick taking him that early even worse. You're not going to utilize.
But he wasn't there. It's not his pick.
Right. Yeah, it's a good call. Dakota says, yeah, Ballard's a bum, and just providing context. We love Dakota. Shout out Dakota, professional fanatic. Appreciate you. Also, we have our media manager in the chat, Blake. What's going on? Kentucky boy McGowan. Blake loves all things Kentucky, and he's got a chubby for McGowan. He loved Ray Davis as well. We still love Ray Davis.
Yeah, Ray Davis helped me win a fantasy championship a couple years ago.
Fucking great story too. Ray Davis was once homeless. What a guy. Blake, he runs like he's talking about McGowan, runs like Pacheco when Pacheco was actually good. Was Isaiah Pacheco ever actually good? I think we might have been fooled by the numbers because he was on the Chiefs. Well, I'm talking about in the pros.
Oh, I mean, he was a bit of a compiler on the Chiefs. This is before they brought Kareem Hunt back. So, yeah, I don't know that he was ever good, but he was certainly serviceable. And he was, his rookie year was half. I would say his rookie year was good. It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him, though, because he's a whole different player. And I know he broke his fucking fibula, and that it? Because a lot of guys break their leg and come back.
I think, a lot of guys, especially, you're talking about a 7th-round pick. Like, what's the average lifespan of a 7th-round running back in the NFL? It's probably 1 year, right? So the fact that he had 3 years, one of which was pretty productive, is, I think, you're beating the odds right there.
Furious, I'm not going to lie. I like the Cards just taking Love. Is that your best? What's your best fantasy destination for Love for this upcoming season? I give you the Cardinals. I give you the Titans. I give you the Commanders, the Saints, and the Chiefs. Those 5 teams all in the top 10.
Well, I know a lot of people are really high on the Chiefs Chiefs being a good spot for running backs. But realistically, since Jamal Charles, have we had a consistent year in and year out producer at the running back position? We've had guys that we could start, but from a fantasy perspective, we had Pacheco's rookie year. Kareem Hunt had his moments last year. Have we, everybody's in love with Andy Reid and Mahomes, but realistically, is that a good environment for a running back?
Well, you'd like to think they would understand they have a generational player and not to pull him off a field for a Jerick McKinnon type and just use him in that way as well. But I think the Saints is probably the best for usage. You're going to guarantee you're going to get the Ashton Genty usage, right? I feel like a team like the Chiefs, you might get the rookie season Bijan usage, right? Yeah. Washington might be the spot though, just because pairing him with Jaden Daniels, dude, is scary.
if Washington wants to stop effing around with these scrubs, no offense to Chris Rodriguez and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Jeremy McNichols, but if they want to stop screwing around and actually implement like a lead back, Jeremiah Love would pop off in Washington.
Yeah, he would definitely destroy. And I just want to have another one of these guys that's going to be an electric first-round pick. And I know you said it on the show on Friday that he's going to be overdrafted. He's going to be a first-round pick.
He will be depending on where he lands, end of the first. I mean, where did Ashton Jetty end up last year? 107?
No, it was like 111. 111.
Okay. So I think you can look at Love somewhere in that range.
Would you rather take if Love goes to, let's say Love goes to the Saints, which is what you said is a great destination? Would you take Jeremiah Love? Would you let's say at the turn, the 12th, 13th pick? Would you take Love or Genty?
Genty.
Okay, you said everything you needed to know.
I mean,
John Taylor,
we've seen it. Like I know that and Love might surpass Genty this year, but at the very least, we know that Genty can hang in the NFL.
So Jonathan Taylor's fourth highest average salary at running back, $14 million for 2026. Ramondre and David Montgomery are both at $9 million. So I feel like it would be right there, maybe a little lower for Tyler Algier. So $8 million a year.
Well, that's okay. So when you were saying $6 million, I'm like, that seems low. I would have put him.
I said 7.
Okay. I would have
3 years, $21 million.
How many? 3 years, $21 million.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I mean, David Montgomery as the second fiddle to Gibbs is making $8 million or $9 million. You telling me that?
But they signed him as a starter, though. They signed him the starter after the Bears before they drafted Gibbs. That's the contract, you know.
Is that still the contract?
Yeah, it was a 4-year deal.
I thought they restructured.
They might have. I'm just saying, like that's why he got paid that much, because he was getting paid starter money, right? And then they just that's why everyone was like, why are you drafting Gibbs? And it worked out. Furious love to Gibbs is a perfect comp. He's the level below Zeke, Saquon level. I think we all forget how good of a prospect and player Zeke was coming out of college. What a pro-ready monster.
No, okay. So I'm sorry. Before we get back to they did sign him to an extension in 2024. So that was after they drafted Gibbs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. They love David Montgomery, which is crazy. They're probably going to get rid of him. Let's see.
They've got
Titans
an out.
Traded for...
They've got an out, but like his contract technically goes through 27, but they do have an out in 26. So yeah, that's a bit of a while. He's not making $8 million though this year. His cap hit is $8 million. So they front loaded his signing bonus.
Well, what do you think about David Montgomery while we're on the topic? Because they're trying to trade him for a decent day 3 pick, which is pretty low. That's a 4th round pick. He wants out. That's the quote. So Montgomery wants out, says Jeremy Fowler. And yeah, he's only 28. Doesn't it feel like David Montgomery's 30? I feel like he's older than that.
I feel like he's been around for a while.
Yeah, and he's because he's slow. But like, would you rather have? Let's say you're the Titans. Would you rather have David Montgomery or Tyler Algier?
David Montgomery. I think the Titans have kind of like tipped their hand. I think if that veteran came up, they'd probably go with David Montgomery. Don't you think? I mean, they did sign
Algier because Algier's like 25. Who would you rather have?
Tyler Algier. Give me the youth.
Thank you. Yeah. Algier's also got very fresh legs. Those things are fucking like your wife when she gets out of the shower after shaved them, just fucking ready to be licked, man. Titans did trade for Jermaine Johnson. Huh?
Does your wife shave her legs every day?
No, not in the winter.
They got nude beaches. Not in the winter.
Damn straight. What do you think about Jermaine Johnson to the Titans? That was actually a pretty nice buy low. But he seems like a knucklehead, right?
He does. I've been holding it in. I gotta go. So to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. I got a perfect clip for that. Story's got to go. He's got to go.
Stone shield potions should be... Oh, God. I'm going to have diarrhea again. You can't go to the bathroom. You're stacking Sunder armor. It's okay.
There we go. I'm back. Boys, I want to chug a beer. That's Helen Hunt. Hi, Helen. 5 supers. I chug a beer. And I take a shot. And I take my shirt off. And I can show you guys me chugging a beer with my shirt off. One of my favorite clips.
Here you go.
I'm back. I'm not muted. Okay, good. All right, where are we at here in the chats? I do like the Jermaine Johnson trade. He is a pass rushing specialist, so I don't mind that one. Story's going to love this comment when he gets back. Who will draft Tennessee's wide receiver, Brazzaville? He calls him Brazzaville. I think it's Brazzle. I think it's Brazzle. He's a Tennessee wide receiver. They're terrible, so I don't think anyone should draft him. He does seem kind of like a monster, but he is just a fucking speed. He is pretty much just a speed guy that has a little bit of size. So not really a fan of him. I'm curious to hear what. Thank you, Jonathan, my guy. Jonathan can be a member of the Dynasty League, Dynasty Startup, which is going to be awesome. I don't want anything to do with a Tennessee wide receiver. Story's going to agree with me on this one. I already can hear him thinking about this one. Tennessee receiver, is it Chris Brazzle?
Brazzle.
Yeah. Who's going to draft him, and where should he go? Third round?
Yeah, he'll probably go in, I would guess around end of third, somewhere in the fourth. But it's impossible to predict where these guys are going to go after the first, the top of the line guys. We can make speculations based on the first round, but we have no idea, like come round 3 when the wide receivers start coming off the board, who's going to draft where. Where would he be a good fit?
Tennessee in college. Go back to college one more year.
Yeah, I think he's kind of maxed that out.
No, I got one for you. Ravens.
Complimentary piece to
Ravens.
I was going to say Washington. He'd be a nice complimentary piece to Terry McLaurin.
Doesn't he kind of remind you? But Terry McLaurin's already a vertical receiver. Doesn't he kind of remind you of Rashad Bateman a little bit?
I would love
to take the Bateman role.
Wouldn't you rather have 2 more deep threats for Jaden Daniels, who's just an outstanding deep ball passer?
Yeah, I guess. They got to figure out the Zach Ertz void, because Zach Ertz, as much as we joke about him being a dinosaur, was very, very important to that team underneath. They don't have that right now. Who do they have underneath, man? They have nobody. Luke McCaffrey?
That's why Jeremiah Love would make a ton of sense there. But if you're talking about Chris Brazzle, I would if I got saddled with him in Washington, I would move him. I would position him as a slot flanker, move him around the formation, and have him go clear out defenses deep.
What about Mekhi Lemon to Washington? That's interesting. There's your underneath guy.
I'd rather Jacoby Lane to Washington than Mekhi Lemon. I think that would be an outstanding fit.
Yeah, I think you want to make a splash. You got to give Jaden Daniels some love, though, man.
That's true.
What's going to happen with Tiny Dancer? Kenneth Walker. We're still calling him Tiny Dancer. Thank you, Dakota, for calling him Tiny Dancer.
Tony Danza. 2 backs in place with Tiny Dancers. He gets hurt with a heavy workload. You had to put 2 backs in place with Tiny. Oh, he gets hurt with a heavy workload. Yeah. What's going to happen with him? Man, this keeps going back and forth. Like one day it looks like he's going to be there. Then they're going to work on a long-term deal. The next day it looks like they're going to split. The next day, it looks like they're going to franchise tag him. Push comes to shove, I think they're going to end up franchise tagging.
They should. I mean, they really should. They have money too. They have a lot of money. That's the thing. It's like, why are they going to be cheap after winning the Super Bowl? The fans, like, I know they're going to trust in Schneider and like what he's doing there, but like, you can't just let the guy walk. If Zach Charbonnet was healthy, I'd understand it. But Zach Charbonnet is not healthy. He's not going to be healthy till like week 9. And then what are you getting, right? You're getting a ramp-up period, and you got to make the playoffs before you repeat. So that's tough division too. It's not like they're playing in the AFC South. Like they're going to have to earn that playoff berth. Everyone's gunning for him now.
Yeah, there is something to be said for the politics of letting the Super Bowl MVP walk. Right? When you don't have a direct replacement there, I'm not sure that the GM can withstand such scrutiny. It remains to be seen.
What do you think about Chikakonkwo to the Patriots? My boy, Chikakonkwo. Disappointing year last year. No one ever uses this guy, right? He's a really undersized, as in like really short tight end. Really good after the catch. He played really well down the stretch, though. And the Patriots like using Austin Hooper, who like Chickaconquo would be a big upgrade over Austin Hooper for that tight end 2 role, right?
Yeah, but they don't play as much two tight end sets as
They play a decent amount.
They do play a decent amount, but it's not like Austin Hooper is catching a ton of passes. Like Austin Hooper is on the field blocking an awful lot, and so Chickaconquo is not going to be out there blocking. And Hunter Henry's their guy, so I don't think that the Patriots. I don't see him as a good fit for the Patriots.
Maybe. What do you think about the Giants paired next to Theo Johnson?
You know who might actually end up signing him is Baltimore. They do like having 2 tight ends that they can, you know, with. I know they just signed Mark Andrews to a 3-year deal, but they really liked what Isaiah Likely brought to the fold, and he's gone now. So having a guy that can mix in as kind of that Likely role behind Mark Andrews, which is I think I think that's the best deal that Chickaconquo is going to get. He's not going to get started like a starting tight end gig anywhere.
If they don't bring anyone in Baltimore, I think Mark Andrews is going to be one of my pillar players next year. I think I'm going to draft him everywhere when I wait on tight end, just because like he's going to catch 8 touchdowns, right? If Lamar stays healthy, if there's no Likely. I mean, they signed him, they have to play him.
Every year that goes on, though, Mark Andrews is a much better pick in best ball because he's not going to threaten down the field anymore.
No, but it's just like you can do a lot worse than like essentially what you're doing if you're talking about tight end 12 off the board, like being the last team to take one. You're streaming the position, and like Mark Andrews will give you the numbers of a streamer, but he'll give you a lot more spiked upside of those 2 touchdown games, which he has two or three a year of. Like it happens every year. I hate Mark Andrews. I think he's terrible, but like what does he do? He catches touchdowns. It's like the Moneyball scene. What does he do? He gets on base. He fucking catches touchdowns. And
I care if he walks a lot. No.
Yeah. I'm going to point at him.
Yeah. Guys,
golf ball whacker guy. I love that quote from Happy Gilmore. Come watch the golf ball whacker guy. Think I can hit it over the road? And then Chubb's giving that fucking lesson to the chick reading the magazine. She's like hitting the ball like fucking 6 yards. Oh good. Yeah. Rotate the hips. It's so Jadarian Price, another one of these fallers story. His spark score was like average, and that did not really jive with the film we saw. Remember before the combine story, I said that my worry with Jadarian Price was every time I saw his highlights, they were up 35-7, and he would score like 3 touchdowns after that, playing against a really, really like tired defense and just running up on teams and typically bad teams. So Jadarian Price, I thought he was a lot bigger. He's actually smaller than Jeremiah Love. He's 209, dude. Like everyone's saying Emmett Johnson's small at 202. Like he's 7 pounds bigger than Emmett Johnson. So like Jadarian Price is not a big back.
Yeah, his speed score, especially at his size, was not impressive whatsoever. I'm not convinced that some team isn't going to fall in love, and he won't be. Not that he won't be fantasy relevant, but when you look at the draft capital that he probably cost himself this week, some of his stats, like his like the I'm just not. He's mediocre, right? It just seems like he comes off as kind of a mediocre, undersized back. So somebody might really like that profile, but for me, like he's not a huge pass catcher either. Like there's just not a whole lot for you to get excited about if you're looking at it from a rookie fantasy perspective.
Yeah, and the main thing is I brought it up on Friday, man. It's the Roschon Johnson thing. Like, and Roschon Johnson's college film was equally as eye-popping as Jadarian Price, and that could have very well been they're up by fucking 3 touchdowns. Bijan just beat up the defense. Like, and Roschon Johnson has done literally nothing in the NFL. We're Bears fans. We watch. He had every chance this year to take over that running back 2 role. He let Kyle Monangai come in there and take the job from him. A 7th-round player that is, we like Kyle Monangai, but he is not flashy at all. And like that's the worry with Jadarian Price. If he falls to the end of the 3rd round. So to Blake's question, how far do you think he falls? Like what range are we talking about?
I think there's a possibility that he drops all the way down to the 4th round, but it's probably not likely. I think that there's still enough teams that like that profile that Jadarian Price brings that he's a 3rd-round pick for me. I haven't looked at any mock drafts since the combine finished, so I have no idea where teams like the prognosticators are putting him right now. But like if you're asking for the median outcome, I think you're looking at mid-third round.
Well, the nice thing he has, the feather in his cap, is that he is elite as a kick returner. So, like, that will drive him up a little bit because at least you have that. I mean, I know it's not a ringing endorsement on the guy. He's good at kick returns, but I'm not into him, man. He's probably going to be outside my top 5 now, and I'm still going to have Emmett Johnson ahead of him. So
you're crazy.
He's still my number 2, baby. I'm not changing. The film. I don't care.
If you have Emmett Johnson at 5, then you should put Dante Dowdle at 4 because Dante Dowdle. You know what Dante Dowdle is?
No, is that Rico Dowdle's like weird cousin?
No, Dante Dowdle was the guy that kept Emmett Johnson off the field at Nebraska in 2024.
I don't care. Screw you. Dakota, when in March will league be filled and league settings be discussed? Pretty soon, Dakota. So we'll figure it out. We have a lot of stuff to vote on. Pretty much everything is up to discussion, platform, settings, scoring, payout, you name it. That's the way I like to operate my leagues. I like everyone to be happy. And it's a democracy up in here, right? It's all about democracy. That's what we like.
Yes. Or constitutional republic, if you would prefer, which means that you elect representatives who then will make decisions on your behalf.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned that you haven't looked at a mock draft. I was just thinking of how dumb mock drafts are before free agency is over, because like it just defeats the purpose, because there's like you mock a guy to go to, you mock Jeremiah Love to go to fucking Tennessee and they sign Kenneth Walker or something. And like, so it's just stupid. Like, I know people want content, but like, I just don't believe in it.
So for mock drafts, I understand why they exist, and they're helpful in that they help you get an overall sense of where prognosticators think guys will go. But when you look at the guys that bust out a new mock draft every week, like that's just the ultimate masturbatory experience. Like, why do we need to know what this guy is thinking? Oh, you're going to predict that Tennessee trades with Seattle and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just jizzing on a page and calling that content. It's just content for the sake of content. It provides virtually no useful and actionable information. I absolutely hate the proliferation of mock draft pundits that pop up this time of year.
I don't like it either, but you know what? People like it, and a lot of times they're way wrong too. Like, I don't even bother doing it. I much rather invest my time in evaluating these players and understanding who I like, who I don't like, what systems they'll fit well in. And then once the draft is over, then we can evaluate, was it a good pick? Was it a bad pick? Jonathan Bernard would be sick in Baltimore. That would be a nice weapon because Bernard, I think he had 16 carries at Alabama this past year. So he is a Deebo Samuel type player. And what better use of that than in a Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry? Another guy, and Zay Flowers, another one of these guys that they can line up in the backfield, throw swing passes to. Unfortunately, I think they also need one more real wide receiver, because Rashad Bateman had a nice year 2 years ago, 9 touchdown receptions somehow, which just sucked for Zay Flowers owners, which I was one of them, just watching fucking Bateman catching 2 touchdowns every other week. But they need a big boy professional receiver, and Bernard is a big boy, but he is much more of a flanker, dude. They need an X.
I don't think he's a big boy. 6'1", 205 or something like that. He's not. I don't even consider him a big boy. He plays much bigger though. He's big after the catch, right? He plays big after the catch. He's never gonna jump off the page as an athletic marvel, but like a 4.49 or whatever he ran, really nice 3-cone. Don't get me wrong. He just profiles as a flanker, like a complementary piece. I don't see him as a number one wide receiver. He's probably a top 60 pick, so a round 2 pick or higher, maybe even top 50. Maybe Baltimore finds some usefulness in him to help open things up for Lamar Jackson, because they also said Lamar Jackson's going to run less next year, which is concerning from his fantasy perspective.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Like, I've heard that before. That's the same thing as hearing, in the preseason, you hear about these running backs lining up in the slot all the time, and it never happens. So, like, I'll believe that when I see it. Like, that's just posturing and bullshit. This is kind of a weird question from Dan, but who will the Patriots get in free agency? We can kind of talk about what they need and what you think they're going to go after. I can pull up the cap room they have here and let Story kind of riff on this one. Let's see what we have here for the Patriots. They are they have $41 million, and they can actually open up more room. So that's quite a bit. Let's call it $50 million, Story. What are they going to target? I know they need a playmaker. Keyshawn Boutte was great for them. He was really great for them. but they could level up there. And Stephon Diggs is going to be another year older. You got the legal issues. Like Stephon Diggs is not a 1. Hunter Henry's another year older. So like they need passing game options. They need offensive line help in particular. Like that offensive line is not good.
I mean, I think they're looking at another weapon for Drake May because you saw what he did from year 1 to year 2. So, man, what is that guy's name? Oh my
Alec
God.
Pierce?
Yes, thank you, Alec Pierce. I
Read your mind.
can't believe you came up with that. That's weird. He would make a really.
I saw you. I could see you thinking Alec Pierce because my question was actually going to be to you: is Alec Pierce? Like I know they would keep Kayshon Boutte, but like, is that an upgrade if you just like swapped them out 1-to-1, right? And you just put Alec Pierce in that X role that Boutte was playing. Is that a major improvement? Is it a marginal improvement? Because Boutte was great last year.
Yeah, Boutte was great. He was not very consistent though, and so it would be nice to have somebody that they can. I do think I think it's a pretty big improvement versus Kayshon Boutte. Like Kayshon Boutte has, since LSU, he's been fine in the NFL, but he's never been a consistent wide receiver. If they can tap into that potential that Alec Pierce showed coming out, then I think they've got a gem in their hands. But you mentioned it, like they desperately need offensive line help, right? Drake May, when he got flustered during the Super Bowl quite a bit because of the defensive line coming in. So like a guard, like that guy from who's the guy from Las Vegas, the Raiders? That's what's his name?
Or like, how about they sign Linderbaum?
Yeah, is Linderbaum a free agent?
Yeah, he's a center. He's 25 years old. I know the center isn't one of their biggest needs. They could upgrade there though, and that's an anchor, dude. Like 25 years old, like that's use of your money. I don't care if it's half of your wad. Like that is solidifying a weakness, dude. And you need that. And like, look at what happened to Jaden Daniels, dude. Like they thought, oh, we don't need to protect him. He's mobile. Drake May, we don't need to protect him. He's mobile. I know Drake May is a much bigger guy, but concussions are a thing. And Drake May definitely got concussed a couple times this year. They did not report it. And that could definitely ruin a career. And, Drake May has proven, as much as it was rough down the stretch there in the playoffs, also played really, really hard defenses. Drake May is the guy. I mean, he is the guy. You have your franchise guy. He's got the moxie. Teammates love him. Like you have the coach in place. You have a lot of Christian Gonzalez is going to be there for a long time. Love the team. You gotta get Boutte not as the number 2. But one last point on the Alec Pierce Boutte thing. I feel like Alec Pierce is a better. He's better at like distracting the defense, right? As a sacrificial X, where like Boutte is a better like ball hawk. He's better at playmaking, like at making plays on the ball, but he doesn't quite have the speed that Alec Pierce has. So like it depends what you want, right? Like I feel like Alec Pierce is a good player. He's not going to be out there making those acrobatic like end zone catches, right? Like he's going to make the deep. He's going to catch the ball over his shoulder. And I love his vertical, but like, Kayshon Boutte was making some like legit crazy catches in the playoffs and in the end of the regular season. Like wild plays.
I'm sorry. I zoned out. I was thinking about the defensive side of the ball for the Patriots. What were you talking about?
I said that Kayshon Boutte has better ball skills than Alec Pierce.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. But in terms of like, what do they need to move the ball downfield? I think Alec Pierce is probably a better option for them. I was thinking, like, what about like a Trey Hendrickson or a Jalen Phillips on the defensive side for the Patriots? Like, make a splash, sign a big edge in free agency.
Yeah, because they got it done as a whole, as a defense as a whole for the blitz schemes and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't any one guy in particular that was really making a difference. And it was just a good unit. But like, if you put a guy that demands to be doubled, now you can use those same concepts that got you that pressure and that, say top 10 defense. Now you're just leveling up, man, and you don't have to blitz as much. And that's going to take, some pressure off that secondary. And Christian Gonzalez can just really go ham. Fucking Christian Gonzalez, what a player he is.
That defense is completely different when he's out of the lineup. And we saw it multiple times last year.
La Maestra says Trump number 1. Very cool comment, man. And he is the president, so he is a number 1. You watch his media address?
Did he own an AFL team in like the 70s or the 80s or something like that? Like the New Jersey Generals or some shit? I can't remember.
He also has an awesome appearance in Home Alone 2.
Do you know why he's in that?
He made it like they weren't going to let him film at the hotel. Right?
Yeah, so he's got a provision that if you film in his properties that he makes a cameo. So sometimes they just like film the cameo and then cut it. Other times, like Home Alone 2, there he is.
He's like the Michael Jordan in that regard. Remember how Jordan wouldn't let himself be in any video game unless he got paid? When like that's not the way it works. But like it's Michael Jordan, it's Donald Trump, so they do what they want. So yeah. I guess they've earned it. Jay, thoughts on tight end Stowers from Vanderbilt? Had a hell of a combine, dude. And he's an elite receiving tight end. He can't block it all though.
No. Like I even heard rumors that he might move over to wide receiver because he showed up smaller than what people were thinking. Like he's smaller than Kenyon Sadiq, and I thought he'd be the smallest guy, the smallest tight end in this draft class. But Sadiq was a few pounds heavier than Stowers. So, I mean, dude, his testing was super impressive, almost as impressive as Sadiq's. Like he's going to be a mismatch. He's going to be a weapon on the field. I like from a dynasty perspective, I'm not sure that I would drop a first round pick on him, but like he's up there. I think like a late or early second round pick is very worthwhile. So I could absolutely see him going early second in the NFL draft as well.
Making him a wide receiver is a mistake though, because they essentially tried doing that with Kyle Pitts, and Kyle Pitts is freakier than Stowers, or as free. He's freakier because he's taller than Stowers, but like there's a reason these guys are tight ends and they're not wide receivers, because wide receivers make more money. If they could be a wide receiver, they would be a wide receiver, and he got to drop a lot of weight, bro. Like you can't be playing wide receiver at two. That's Traylon Burke shit. 240. Yeah, that's too. No, he can't do that. So like you got to use him. He's got to be in the right situation, right? It's got to be a mismatch situation where they're moving him all over the formation. I think a great spot for him, I'll say, is the Denver Broncos. Like what Evan Ingram was supposed to be. This is Eli Stowers, right?
Yeah, that's a great spot for him. Washington would be a great spot for him too. Washington keeps coming up.
All right, Hetzer, what is it called, man? He was wondering about the name of the intro song for our show. I don't even know what it is. Kappa made that 5 years ago when we created the show, and I have no idea what it is. It's a great tune. Peasy, thoughts on the tight end from Wake Forest? That is Surratt, right? Seg Surratt.
I don't know. I don't know who this is.
Oh yeah, I don't either. That's the only name that came to mind. So he must be a really deep name.
I can Google it. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's his
Furious, and that's I think it's Sage Surratt. Furious. I think Bailey is the best defensive player in the class. His get off is elite, and he is a freak of nature. Recent styles and are more polished, and he's 22, and not super old.
I mean,
is that who it is?
Sage Surratt. He was signed as an undrafted free agent to the Lions in 2021. Then he played in the CFL for a year. Then he was signed by the Chargers practice squad. Then back to the CFL for 2 years, and then practice squad for the Cardinals. So I'm not. If that's the guy we're talking about,
can't be him. No, that can't be him. That can't be him. What do you think about Bailey? Is Bailey the best defensive player in the draft?
I mean, don't you? Like David Bailey, like just wreaked havoc for Texas Tech last year. Like, God, Jets had the number 2 pick, right?
Jets have number 2. That's
the fact
a perfect spot.
that they traded what's his name leads me to believe that since they're switching over to a 3-4, which they won't play exclusively, but what's his name? Jermaine Johnson, right? Since they traded him, like I would think that David Bailey is a near lock to go to the Jets at 2.
Well, I hope that their head coach wasn't sleeping through his workout, because he might have been sleeping through that. So I wish I had the clip from Strange Wilderness where, God damn it, I totally fucking whiffed on that one, where Justin Long paints his eyeball, like paints like this part of his eye, the outside of his eye, like look like eyeballs. So he's like he's sleeping during the meeting, and then he looks like he's awake. And he's just like snoring, and he's like, "Oh, I got a tattoo on my eyes, so it looks like, like when I'm sleeping that I'm really awake." Like that's what Aaron Glenn needs. God damn it, I missed on that one. It would have been amazing. Dude, next time I'll get that on.
Justin Long do anything? He'll just do whatever, huh?
I love Justin Long. What a guy. What a guy. This is a good call. This is exactly what I was saying, Furious. If Stowers switches a wide receiver, he will just be a fat, slow wide receiver, right? Actually, not that slow. He's not agile enough to be a wide receiver. I think that's the point. because a lot of teams say, like, let's just move this guy as a slot receiver. But, like, most teams have a better slot receiver than any tight end. Like, Kyle Pitts is elite, but, you know, is Hunter Renfrow in his prime? Or would you rather have Hunter Renfrow in his prime, who was just kind of an average player, or Kyle Pitts as your slot receiver? You know what I mean? Like,
Hunter Renfrow, like, was a possession guy. He knew where to be. Kyle Pitts
That's
is just
what I'm saying.
Super streaky, you know?
Yeah, and Kyle Pitts finally broke out when they moved him all over the formation, and you can't just leave him on an island. Like, he's just not quick enough, even though his testing was quick enough, Story, because he ran a 4.4, right? And but the tests it's not game speed. It's not game speed. Hetzer said it's called TV Tune by Dominic Voss. That's a badass song. Our intro song.
Oh.
Yeah. Furious says, thoughts on the tackle Freeling from Georgia. He shut up the board. Do you know much about him?
Yeah, he had a really, really, really good combine. Like, athletically, he tested out very well. He did have a bit of a slower start at Georgia. He wasn't a full-time player up until last year, but he can make some noise, because you want your tackle to, like, kind of be bullying those defensive players that are coming at you. And this is definitely a guy that could do it. He's probably like a mid-first round pick. 15 is a little high, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him go that somewhere in that, like, 18 to 15, 18 to 14 type range. He definitely like earned another 4 or 5 spots with his combine testing alone.
Comment from Mikey. What's going on, man? What are your thoughts on Mendoza? Like, is he instantly a top 32 quarterback coming in? And should the Raiders think about not taking him? And I feel like they have to take him. He's a lock as a number 1 pick. He maybe not the same caliber as Caleb or Drake May or Andrew Luck, but is he better than Trevor Lawrence as a prospect coming out? Because Trevor Lawrence was a god coming out, but, like, that hasn't panned out. I think we might have over-evaluated Trevor Lawrence, though.
I didn't, personally, for the record, so everybody's aware.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, he wasn't. He's not a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence also had a longer sustained career at Clemson than Mendoza did. So there's no red flags though with Mendoza. He does everything that you want him to do, and so for the Raiders, who they don't have their quarterback of the future, it's not like the Titans are the number 1 overall pick, right? That would be a bit of a conundrum there. Like, what are the Titans going to do? Because Cam Ward showed some improvement. Did he show enough for him to be the starter going forward? Now this Mendoza falls in your lap. Like, what are the Raiders? You have to take him. Like, there's just no question that you got to take that shot. Even if it's a 20% chance that he works out to be an all-pro, you've got to take the shot there.
Well, no, the option is you can't take someone else at number 1. That's for sure. You can't do that.
Oh.
The option is trading back. Like, let's say the Cardinals make a big push and give, the 3rd pick, and you can take an edge rusher, and then you get next year's 1 and next year's 2 or something. Like, that is on the table because of next year's quarterback class being so elite. And you know how bad if you don't get Mendoza, even with Mendoza, Raiders are probably winning 3 games next year. They might win 1 fucking game if they roll with, like, Gardner Minshew or some shit.
You're not drafting Mendoza for 2026, and despite what draft day might have us to believe, the number 1 overall pick does not get traded very often, right? Like, when was the last time the number 1 overall pick actually got traded? Like, the teams will dial in because the future is not guaranteed. It looks like a great draft class now, but what if Dante Moore regresses and Trinidad Chambliss breaks his leg and et cetera, knock on wood, obviously. But
this year was supposed to be that great draft class, but everyone went back to school or regressed.
Right. So I think that, I don't know, like, who's the only other guy that I would even consider there is probably David Bailey as the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but you don't do that because you lose value. You trade off that and take any of the edge rushers. You know what I'm saying? Because then you compile picks.
Again,
but what are the chances that he becomes Joe Burrow? Because I've heard a lot of comps. I haven't heard the Joe Burrow comp, but they are very similar. They're very smooth. They're athletic enough. Let's not forget Joe Burrow was a lot more athletic when he came out than he is now, partially due to all those injuries. But, like, Mendoza he's tall. Joe Burrow doesn't have exactly the strongest arm. He's not Josh Allen arm strength, right? Like, he just got an above average arm, really accurate, really savvy, really poised. He wins mentally as much as he does physically. So does Mendoza. So I have never heard anyone comp him to Joe Burrow. And I know Joe Burrow had, like, the most legendary of legendary seasons in LSU. So did Mendoza. And I'll tell you that I know that he had way better weapons at LSU. He had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Like Omar Cooper and Surratt are not those guys. So I'm going to give actually more credit to Mendoza. Now, I'm not the highest on Mendoza. He's definitely the best of this class. I think he's in most years worthy of a number 1 pick. Definitely this year. I don't think he would have been worthy in the number 1 pick in the Caleb draft. He probably would have gone 3 or 4. But is there a chance he is Joe Burrow just based on just the player he is, his work ethic? I've not heard any bad reports on Mendoza really about anything besides the fact he's skinny. He's listed at 236. Ain't no way that guy's 236.
He's skinny, but like he's not afraid to put his body on the line, which is exactly what you want to see from the number 1 overall pick. Like he's a surefire number 1 overall pick. Is he a surefire star in the league? I don't know that. Nobody knows the answer to that. That has yet to be seen. But the only way he's Joe Burrow is if the Raiders make the same mistakes that the Bengals made in mortgaging their defense and their offensive line to put the wide receiving talent on the field to accompany Joe Burrow, a la the huge contracts that they gave to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So if the Raiders want to go that route and possibly cost him his career, or at least multiple games a year, at least a half dozen games a year, as we seem to get with Joe Burrow, then yeah, he could be that kind of very productive pocket passer. The Raiders are stupid enough to do that. Otherwise, the talent on the offensive side of the ball is just not prominent enough for him to be. I don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant next year. I just think that Raiders are just way too far off.
Thank you, GT. Thank you, Booty. We are 2 away from a beer chug here. He's talking about Mendoza, especially when there's a quarterback like Mendoza that pick ain't getting traded. So the Bears are the most recent team to do it. That was the Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. No, the CJ Stroud and Bryce Young pick, which we didn't know which way it was going. A lot of people like Stroud more. A lot of people like Bryce Young more. Those guys, Mendoza's a tier above those guys, right? I know it's easy to say he is now based on what's happened in the NFL, but coming out of college, Bryce Young was the consummate winner. You know, he was the pros pro coming out. He had some size concerns. And CJ Stroud, they were showing his stuff in the combine, like his workout. It was probably an all-time throwing workout. It was unreal, and he actually had a lot of success in Ohio State. So Mendoza's a tier above those guys. Would you agree?
As a prospect or just in general?
Prospect.
As a prospect? Yeah. I don't know, man. Stroud was pretty highly touted coming out of Ohio State. And you mentioned his combine. It was I think a different level. But again, are we getting kind of rose-colored glasses with Mendoza because of how poor the rest of the class is, relatively speaking, not just with quarterbacks, but offenses in general? Outside of Love and Mendoza, what are we really looking at? Yeah, there's some good wide receiver talent, but it really drops off fast. So I think Stroud, from a prospecting standpoint, I think it's Stroud, Mendoza, Bryce Young. I think he's right at that level with them, and maybe Stroud a little higher.
I do like the safety of the pick, though, because there are literally no concerns, like the Zach Wilson flop, the Anthony Richardson flop, even the Trevor Lawrence flop. There were a lot of raw traits for Trevor Lawrence that we all overlooked. I see the floor being very high for Mendoza. So what I was talking about with the Joe Burrow thing is that I haven't heard the ceiling comps and the ceiling, people saying he could be an all-timer, but I guess I'll leave it at this. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick, right? Mm-hmm. And Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. And I promise you, coming out, Mendoza is a much better player than Tom Brady was. So he has that. If he has what everyone says, that Tom Brady it factor, which is something that you can't really quantify, and it's more of an opinion, then the sky's the limit. Unfortunately, the Raiders are not exactly a great organization. Now, Ray argued with me and said that Tom Brady's there, and my rebuttal was Tom Brady, great announcer now, great quarterback, great guy, not a great husband, but great guy. But Michael Jordan was also in the same mold, and he was the worst GM in the history of the NBA. And everyone's like, of course that Michael Jordan would be great at evaluating talent, all these kind of things. And that didn't come to fruition. So we don't automatically know Tom Brady is this awesome, part owner, GM, whatever he's going to be. We don't know that. Yeah, he knows ball.
It doesn't matter for Mendoza, though. You're not going to not take Mendoza at number 1. He's probably the only surefire thing in this year's NFL draft, right? Incredible season last year. He's got all the traits that we're looking for. Yeah, his frame might be a little on the light side. It all is contingent on the Raiders building a winning team around him. I don't have concerns about Mendoza or his ability to put the product to win. I have concerns about the Raiders' ability to put the right product on the field and support him around him. That offensive line, like if they do not improve that, like he is going to get crushed like Joe Burrow. That's the problem we saw with Joe Burrow. I mean, how many games a year is Joe Burrow missing because of the offensive line? How many games a year?
He's lost 3 years, essentially.
We didn't see a ton of games missed by Andrew Luck, but his career was cut short because of the Colts did not put the right team around him, right? Great receiving talent, but they couldn't protect him, and it absolutely cratered his career. So if they don't shore up that offense and put that, like I said, a winning team around him, then Mendoza is just going to languish in mediocrity along with the team. It goes as the team goes.
You know what that just reminded me of, which is the funniest thought ever. You're talking about how they didn't get any offensive line for Andrew Luck. You know what they did do? They did trade for Trent Richardson.
It's true.
They traded a first-round pick for Trent Richardson after he already was not great. I mean, his numbers were good as a rookie, but Trent Richardson was like the slowest, most plodding running back ever. And like, remember Jim Irsay's tweet? He's like, Super Bowl, like, dude, like that. You know what that's like? That's literally like Shallow Hal. That'd be like me meeting like a fucking 280-pound chick and like being like, she's so hot, and then taking a selfie with her, be like, supermodel, check it out, guys. I got myself a fucking 10. Everyone's like, dude, she's 280 pounds. I don't care, man. She's a 10 to me. Like, keep that to yourself. And also, Jim Irsay, you're a fucking idiot. Rest in peace, though. Rest in peace, Jim Irsay.
He was like so much younger
He's
than
a pill popper.
Way. Like,
that dude did so many drugs, dude. He was essentially like I think he was a founding member of Hell's Angels, dude. I think that's what he was. I'm kidding, dude. I'm just saying he was like a biker dude. Like,
okay.
Booty, it wasn't that weird that Mendoza didn't throw at the combine because he had nothing to gain. Literally nothing to gain, everything to lose. So why would you do anything? He showed up there. You know, he was mucking it up with the boys.
No, my wife asked me about that. She's like, why isn't he gonna do anything there? And I'm like, he literally doesn't have to. So why would you run the risk? Even if it's a 0.01% chance that you cost yourself a draft spot or you get injured, why ever take that risk? You're not gonna drop down draft boards by not testing.
Furious played high school ball with Caleb. That must have been insane.
Caleb Iomu?
Oh, not Caleb Williams. Caleb, who is Caleb Iomu? I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
I thought you were talking about Caleb Johnson or Caleb Williams.
I don't know.
Or Caleb Johnson.
Booty,
every other pick after one, the Raiders need to shore up that O-line. That and defense. They can't. The thing is, they also need. They're going to probably sign someone, a receiver. They're probably going to sign Romeo Doubs, dude, and that's not great. But at least you have Brock Bowers there, right? You have Genty, you have Brock Bowers. Trey Tucker's fine. I mean, he's fine. Because he's not the number one, right? He's not the number one. The number one's Brock Bowers.
Yes, Brock Bowers. He was talking about Caleb Lomu, the offensive tackle from Utah. I don't know a ton about him. He's probably like a late first round pick. Yeah, that's crazy though that you played football with him.
Let's see here. Furious, is Jeremiah Smith the first pick next year? I mean, it's an all-time quarterback class, so we've been told. But is there a chance that this dude is that elite? Because it's rare wide receiver goes number one. It's even rarer they go number one when there's one or two elite quarterback prospects. When we're talking maybe 3 or 4 or 5.
When was the last?
What do you think?
What was the last number one overall pick that was a wide receiver?
Keyshawn Johnson, I know he was. That was 99, though.
I was going to say that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's the one that pops off in my head. There's been a lot of guys that go like 3.
It doesn't happen. It's usually a defensive player or a quarterback. Like, I bet we can go back and look.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Smith will not be the first overall pick next year. I would like you'd have to have
top 5 though.
What? Yeah,
top 5.
Assuming he keeps up this pace and he continues to develop, I think he's for sure a top 5 pick.
Is he going to be one of the best? At least, like, I'm not saying it's going to pan out, but is he going to be thought of as the best receiving prospect we have seen since Calvin Johnson? I know they're not the same player. I'm just saying Calvin Johnson. Everyone knew this dude's different, even though he had no college production. But like Calvin Johnson was DK Metcalf on steroids, and he actually had the film to back it up in terms of winning at all 3 levels and just the agility and just fluid hips that DK Metcalf will never have. Is Jeremiah Smith that guy where it's like, Jamar Chase would have been that guy, but he sat out that entire year at LSU. So like there was question marks about Jamar Chase there.
No, that was a COVID thing. He sat out because of COVID that year.
Well, whatever. I'm saying we didn't see him play football for a whole year though. So that was the concern. Like,
I mean, but where did Chase get drafted? Like he was still number 8, right?
Yeah, like 8 or 10, like top 10, but it wasn't that.
I don't think he cost himself any draft stock at all. Like you made the right.
Well, Marvin Harrison went 4th overall, guys, from the same school, and we all agree Jeremiah Smith is a much better player than Marvin Harrison coming out of college.
I think he's a better prospect, 100%.
Right.
We got to see what that Ryan Day can maintain the same product, and that they can actually showcase his talent, which I think they will. He's known as a pretty good coach. Just going back for the first overall picks. Outside of quarterback and defensive end, the last player that was not one of those two positions was a tackle, Eric Fisher, drafted in 2013.
Jesus, that was a bad pick too.
The last time it's been a couple of tackles. Jake Long was in there, but mostly, like I said, defensive ends, quarterbacks.
So was it Keyshawn Johnson?
Keyshawn Johnson 30 years ago, 1996 was the last wide receiver, number 1 overall pick.
I'm fucking smart, bro.
What is an H-back?
Hey, give me my flowers, bitch.
Oh, a halfback, boy.
Give me my flowers.
Zay Flowers?
I called Keyshawn Johnson. No, fuck you.
Don't think just because I got a lot of money, I'll give you taco flavored kisses, honey. Fulfill all your wishes with my taco flavored kisses. Taco, burrito, taco.
You ever heard of Irving Fryer out of Nebraska? He was the 1984, before Keyshawn Johnson. It was the last wide receiver that was number 1 overall pick.
So 2 in the last 42 years.
Yeah.
That's not great.
No, I mean,
Furious says this is rough. Mendoza's like Sam Bradford plus.
Oh, come on, man. That's mean.
That is kind of mean. Although Sam Bradford, career derailed by injuries, and he had a nice little comeback with the Rams.
True. Yeah, he did have a little bit of a comeback with the Rams. I think he's better than Sam Bradford.
Furious, I thought about a Cardinals pick swap and Kyler and a little bit more. That's not going to do it. You got to it's draft capital because Kyler, now you're hitching your wagon to Kyler, like when you can have Mendoza. As much as I like Kyler for fantasy going forward, I don't like him to lead my franchise. I don't want that AIDS in my building, dude. That tiny AIDS. It's like midget AIDS. You ever heard of that? You ever heard about that strand of AIDS? You know how they had different strands of COVID that came out and you had to get like different vaccines for it? They have midget AIDS, so it's like a whole different version of HIV. It's not even HIV. You get AIDS right away when like midgets have it. So that's the Kyler thing. Yeah.
Are you making this up?
No, look it up.
Never heard of this. Heard of feeling it.
I got you. I got you, bro. I got you. Yes. Got you. Just in size for Mendoza, I think he's saying comparing him to, because he is the same size as Joe Burrow. He actually be bigger than Joe Burrow. I don't believe it in the eye test, but
Joe Burrow's tall, dude. Like Joe Burrow's a pretty tall dude.
Do you believe that he is 236 though? I don't believe it because Josh Allen 6'5", 250. Like if you're saying Mendoza's 6'4", 236, like how are they close in size? I mean, Josh Allen's a giant human being. Mendoza has thin arms and thin legs, and like where is the weight at? Is it in his cock? Like where's the weight that Mendoza has? I don't know where it's at.
He's listed at
head. Is it brain?
6'5",
dude, how? That's an official combine. He weighed into that. Is that official?
No, it just says listed weight. So no, he did. That's not official. He didn't weigh in there.
Yeah. What would you guess he is? I guess he's 220, 220.
I don't know. It's tough because like tall guys can hide weight in places you wouldn't expect. Like if you're tall, sometimes you do weigh a little bit more. I don't know. I'm taking it as word until the pro day.
Yeah. Now this is a good call because as much as I'm not sold on Brady as a GM or owner, he does have the advantage of getting access to Brady and picking his brain, which is valuable.
Yeah, they need to do something about that. They can't keep letting Brady be an announcer as long as he's part owner of the Raiders.
That is crazy, bro.
I don't understand how the NFL
he gets access to these teams. They get interviews like they give a lot of information up, dude. Like a lot of information up. Like anyone. So I know this because a guy they used to be a member at Elgin. He was like pretty high up in a couple of the broadcasts, like in the video room, and like they're not allowed to bet on DraftKings because they get information that like the general public doesn't. and like they could lose their job if they play fantasy for money or they do like bet on DraftKings. So like you can't tell me Tom Brady is getting less information than these guys. He's getting more.
Yeah.
So like that's just total conflict of interest. But maybe because it's Tom Brady, and you know what, Tom Brady is known to bend the rules though. Story, you know what I'm saying?
Allegedly,
so
seemingly.
Maybe this is why he took the gig, just to get all this info on these players and these teams, the ins and outs, and then he's just gonna like the Raiders are gonna become a superpower in the NFL.
No, man, Deflategate was a hit piece. Mark my words.
You don't believe it?
No. In fact, there's a video floating around of some physicist who like breaks down how it like the laws of physics wouldn't allow it to happen or something like that. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
He just needs to stay away from Crosby after work. So is he talking about Bill? Oh, Crosby, not Cosby. Whenever I see that, I just think of yeah. Colts had a great kicker. Are we talking about the liquored up kicker, Mike Vanderjagt?
Oh yeah, that guy was a character.
One of my original Superflex leagues I used to run, I named it Mike Vanderjagt's Flask. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool name. That was when he missed that kick.
Time out. You gotta ban Laundromat Tom. You gotta kick him out.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ban. Oh, he's talking about my mama again. I love these people.
Yeah.
It's great Swallower 69. Okay. Cool. Good comments, guys. You're really killing it. Thanks for fucking up the show, you prick. Yeah, Mike Vanderjagt, what an epic moment. When the one thing, you know, I'm pretty hard on Peyton Manning on this show, just off the field stuff, but I love when he called him out, the liquored up kicker at the Pro Bowl.
One more.
I love that.
Sorry,
another one?
Yeah. Bathtub Bob, you got to get him out of here too. He made it like a legitimate comment about Josh Allen, but then I'm looking up and yeah, you got to get that guy out of here too.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks. I'll get my other computer going right now so I can see that. Trent Richardson was such a bust. He definitely was not a beast. Was he on the cover of Madden?
I don't think so. Wasn't that the
that was Peyton Hillis for sure.
I was going to say, wasn't that the Peyton Hillis here?
Yeah, I think that was also because he was white and they wanted to have a white running back on there. But that was a bad run of Madden covers for a while, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Madden curse. It's real. At least that's what I've been told.
Mikey says, what's the best call for Vikings? Will JJ McCarthy improve, or is he just not fit there? I don't want to lose Jefferson. Well, he's 21 years old. He was always going to be a project. We didn't see him being an Anthony Richardson level project, which is what it appears it is. So I'm asking this story. Who do you have more faith in resurrecting their career right now? JJ McCarthy or Anthony Richardson? If you were, I'm trying to think of a team. If you were the Cardinals and you could take a shot at one of these guys,
yeah,
McCarthy or Richardson, who are you taking?
McCarthy.
I'm taking Richardson, bro.
Why, dude?
I love Richardson.
Career pass rating's like 65. It's
you don't care.
You should care. You can't win in the NFL with that. Like, and if like